Yeah, you had mentioned the Preservation Jazz Hall track. Please, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that too.
So the second song that I chose to share with y'all is a collaboration that's near and dear to my heart. I've always been a fan of New Orleans music, and it's always been this unattainable thing for me. And so I've always loved it, and I've always been inspired by it. I've spent at least a couple thousand hours trying to figure out, just playing along with the meters records and stuff, just trying to figure out that feel, and what I've learned is you gotta like go experience it, and then it just happens to you. Right. So, in all of our journeys, we've met some really amazing musicians, and we met the guys from Preservation Hall Jazz Band in New Orleans, and I'd been there a bunch of times and never got to really actually play with any New Orleans musicians. I always was performing in our own show or something, and then I would try to go find people to play with, and nobody ever wanted to. So I've always gone there and been sort of like, I want to be involved, but I also understand that like you don't just go there and get involved. You have to like be invited in, and yeah, it's a thing because it is a precious commodity there, and their art is what in some cases it's all they got. So that and family, and so those things being super important, and then also the importance of Preservation Hall as a place that's gone on for the existence of it in supporting cultural music in its most purest form, I think is just an amazing story of its own, right? So we were playing Voodoo Music Festival one year, and we were hit up a few weeks beforehand by Preservation Hall. They said, we do these things where we do a late night show for a special show at the or a special after show for like the foundation members, like the people who are their biggest donors. And then it starts. Whoa. Hold on there. It wanted to play so bad that it just started. So anyway, we got the opportunity to go before our set at the festival. We went down to the hall, and what they wanted us to do is actually collaborate with them and sit in with them and have like play some of their songs and have them play some of our songs. Well, our songs are in totally weird keys and like different things. There's about them that people might not just like all of a sudden just get, right? So the process of rehearsing was super beautiful because there was this huge collaboration happening in the moment of, an 85-year-old sax player who played for Aretha Franklin for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like Charlie is amazing. And so like he's trying to play he's trying to solo over this part of a song that's in a scale that he barely ever played. And, and then our sax player is at the time they're both playing clarinet, and he's like, no, just try this. And like they were the whole band, his band was making fun of him for not being able to play this like thing that these guys brought in, right? And so you could take that however you'd like to, but it was pretty funny. And so then like we try it again, and all Sylvan said to Charlie, Sylvan is our sax player, and he's a huge fan of Charlie. So all he said was, well, let me play first and you can play after. And Charlie's like, well, all right, okay, that sounds like a good idea, And so he comes to that part, he plays the solo, and then Charlie responds. And in that response was all of the frustration of getting it wrong in front of all his peers and in front of strangers, but transformed into, oh, this is the response that I'm supposed to give. And it was amazing. And so we had this really neat bond that formed that day. We came back and did 3 sets with them. and it was totally amazing. And when we left that, we decided that maybe it would be a good time to collaborate with them and write a song with them. So we wrote, we ended up getting to go to, they said yes, and we brought all of our stuff and gear down to New Orleans and went into set up in the back rooms of the hall, and that were mostly storage rooms, and we fit everyone in there. There was probably 13, 14 of us. And we recorded sessions for 5 days. We have tons of material from that we still are going to work on. But this was that moment where, we talked a lot. We got to know each other. We're from different cultures. We're from different places. We all love music, though. And learning more about Katrina and the devastation that happened there, learning more about how that falls in line with some of the earlier problems that they would experience in New Orleans there as a community, and how some of the musicians, people love their music. They don't know the stories behind it. So learning about those stories, we wrote this song called Let It All Go. And that's what it's about. It's about, celebrating music, letting go of the problems and the differences, and celebrating what you have inside of you, that what we all have inside of us, that we can actually just throw up in the air and express ourselves for a minute. So that's what this song is about. And it was recorded at the Preservation Hall in New Orleans, Louisiana, with Pres Hall Jazz Band. And of course, it's not playing.
How you want it to play. I jumped the gun earlier.
Yeah, I know. It was all excited, and I messed it up. Okay, here we go.
Went to the room.
Just let it all go. What you got to do, just let it all go. What you holding back now? Oh, just let it all go. What you holding on to? Please let it all go. What's making you slow or worse? Just let it all go. What you got to do? Just let it all go. What was your best now? Please just let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go, let it all go. Let it all go.
So great. That was a party in that room right there.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and the cool thing about that is the singer on that is a gentleman named Ronell. And Ronell is, his character is of the highest order. Okay. He, when you see him, he is smiling. And when you leave him, he's smiling. And the entire time in between, if he's not smiling, he's kind of trying to figure out how to smile. He's
my kind of guy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this was the first time that he got to sing on a record.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, and it was original too. And he hadn't gotten to do that. He had gotten to sing a lot in shows. He sings this one song for Preservation Hall, and we just thought he must be a singer, but he's really a trombone player. But like, we were trying to figure out who was going to sing it, and because of all the words and stuff and the feeling, it was just like, it's got to be Ronell. And they were just like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, it's like, to them, they were like, I don't know. For us, we were like, it's got to be him. He's got that spirit of his voice that comes out and says all these amazing things, and you believe him. He's authentic, and it goes back to that authentic thing. And that's what I think makes an amazing recording, is when you can collaborate with someone, even reach way beyond cultural divides and things that, you know, people have problems with. And I think that these are the ways in which music is indeed music, art, poetry. It's the way you can connect lineages from all over the world. And I think that that's an important thing about music. And I think that's an important thing about musicians, is that we learn to speak each other's languages through the one thing that kind of connects us all, which is sound.
There you go. Yeah, that's an amazing track. I love the story behind it.
Yeah, it's super fun.
You've got some good ones.
Thanks.
Well, you know, I can imagine it's just built up over time, you know, have a good time.
Yeah, I think we've released 134 songs.
Jeez, that's spectacular. And the shows and the videos and all that.
Well, thanks.
it's really impressive. With regards to, you know, your being a musician and being an instructor and being just being a musical person, if somebody were to come up to you after a show, or if you were giving a lesson to someone, what would you impart to someone as kind of like your musical philosophy, whether it's learning or enjoying or whatever?
Right. I mean, I think that the most important thing is making sure that you understand. I would ask them, like, well, what is your favorite part about music? Like, what is it that gets you going with it? And what is it that you're confused about? Or what is it that you're trying to solve? You know, what is that? Where are the roadblocks for you? You know, and then a lot of times I think what it is that people don't have the right questions, maybe, or they don't know how to ask them for themselves because they kind of feel embarrassed or something. And I know how that feels. So I try to, first of all, just sort of connect with them a little bit and sort of get an idea of where they want to go with it, what they're trying to accomplish and stuff. Also, it's fun to, I don't think enough people do that enough. It's like, when someone asks you a question, ask them a question back, and like, well, what do you love? Like, it's, you know, it's like, maybe it's after one of my shows, and they're like, well, I love you guys, you know, and it's like, okay, cool. What is it about it? You know, how did you find it? What does it mean to you? And stuff like that. And then I can get an idea of what it is what they've gotten inspired by, whatever has to do with me. And then, you know, insert into coming up with ideas to help them look at things, because I think that's like the biggest roadblock is people, they want to be creative and they want to understand how, but there is no how, because everyone who's creative just says, oh, you just do it and then it works and it's magic or something, you know, and then the person's just like, okay, cool, thanks, you know, and I know that because I've been told this my whole life, and I'm like, well, there's got to be something, right? How do you go by it? And I think for me, I like to remind people that they like something a lot. Like when they like a song a lot, like why? What is it? And so in that song or in any genre or thing, there's like a structure of things. There's a structure of song form. There's a structure of sounds. There's a structure of like how long you do things and whether you do a drum break or whether you don't do a solo or whether, you know, it's like there's a lot of things. And so structurally, I teach people to look at the structure of something that makes them really excited and inspires them, and then learn how the process of inserting their own sounds into that structure. So if you're a drummer like I am, if I hear something where it sparks an idea from the James Brown song, okay, I'll actually like act like I'm that guy and I'm playing that beat for this moment. And that's like a taking on a whole personality and a whole style. I mean, sometimes I'll even like hunch over and play like I'm, you know, like an old man or something. And it gives me a feel that's different, you know, it connects me a little closer. Right. So it's like, my whole point is that you would want to take your creative ideas, insert them into the structure that turns you on, that inspires you, so that you have your own voice within that genre structure, that idea, and it's uniquely yours. And you can feel proud about that.